Hello and happy May. Welcome back to another episode of How They See Us. For those of you who don't know, How They See Us is a series where we invite industry leaders and friends of Heard Strategies to discuss how they navigate public perception challenges within their field. My name is Kierra Santillan. I'm an account executive here at Heard Strategies, and I will be hosting today's episode. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, why isn't Denise hosting? Well, in honor of May being Mental Health Awareness Month, the Heard team thought it would be a great time for Denise to take off her hosting hat so that she could speak candidly about prioritizing mental health while being in a leadership role. We are so grateful for Denise's hard work and dedication to her craft and community, but we also know that balancing those responsibilities is taxing. We felt like this episode would be a great opportunity for Denise to be transparent with our listeners and share some of her experiences with learning how to prioritize mental health while running a business, volunteering in the community, and still managing her personal life. Thank you for allowing me to moderate today's episode, Denise. How are you feeling today, and how do you feel about today's episode dynamic?
I feel like I got bamboozled. Like I'm supposed to be where you're sitting, and you're supposed to, and someone else is supposed to be where I'm sitting, and you're supposed to be sitting somewhere else. So this is very interesting being on this side of the conversation. But thank you for having me.
Oh, well, of course, of course. I got to tell you guys, Denise makes this look a lot easier than it is. I am sweating in this moderator seat.
You're doing just fine. Just fine.
So we put together a few questions for you.
Yeah.
Starting off, as a woman, community leader, and entrepreneur, how do you manage your stress levels while being stretched so thin?
That's a really great question. And before I go into it, I just want to thank the Heard team for creating this platform and this environment for us to talk about something that's so important to all of us, our mental health, and being honest and upfront and candid with one another about how important the topic of mental health is. I don't think that people pay enough attention to this topic. I'm with the people that say if you had a cold or if your little finger was hurting or if you had a headache, you would be flying to the medicine cabinet or to the doctor to get treatment. Mm-hmm. So if you're not feeling imbalanced and you're feeling a little off, it is okay for you to talk to someone about it, and it's okay for you to get some help, and it's okay to get some medication. Absolutely. If that's what's needed to help you get to where you need to be. So I really appreciate the team for wanting to have this conversation about something that still has a stigma associated with it, but we're going to do what we do, and that's have conversations to talk about things that people may not want to talk about so we can shed a very important light on this topic. So you asked me, how do I manage my stress level when I am stretched so thin? And to be honest with you, Kierra, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that question because sometimes I feel like I am meeting myself coming through the door. And, you've been around with me long enough to know and see me go through some pretty stressful times. Yeah. I think a big part of it is my faith, number one. I do believe that my faith has carried me through the most stressful of times. I do pray a lot. I just have to, and I sometimes have to force myself to just have a conversation with God to calm my soul and calm my spirit and let him point me in the direction that I need to go. Mm-hmm. Because sometimes I just can't figure it out. I don't know how to prioritize. I don't know what should come first. I don't know what should come last. It seems like, everything is on fire and everything needs my full attention. And so I need a higher force to tell me, how should I prioritize? What should I do? And what steps should I take? So I think a big part of it is my faith that's really carried me through, the most stressful of times.
Absolutely. And I think that makes sense. There's a lot of times where you don't know what's coming ahead. So the only thing you can put your faith in is God at that point. And just let go and let God. There's a reason that's a saying.
Right. Yeah.
So how do you maintain a mindset for business growth and development while you still prioritize your mental well-being?
That's another good question. You all did a good job with this question.
Put some thought into it.
You really, really did. By the best. Here's the thing. I've always been someone that likes to pursue things and to push herself further and to see what we can aspire to do. And so sometimes that is challenging to my mental health because we have to step outside of our comfort zone.
Mm.
And I also have to take the team outside of their comfort zones as well in order to be able to do that. And so a lot of times, what I try and do with respect to my mental well being is I try and take myself out of my situation and look at it through the lens of all of you. You
Mm.
know, how will this make you feel? And how can I, as your leader, deliver this to you in a way that you feel inspired and motivated? Because when you all are inspired and motivated, that inspires me. So when I share information with you all, you know, good, bad, or indifferent, and I see your responses and even get your help working through things, it's particularly when they're difficult, that really helps me. I think the more, as I've evolved as a business owner, I think that because I am really trying to prioritize my own mental health, the more I share with you all,
Mm.
the better I feel, you know. And so, and because that's a matter of trust also, you know. And I see you all's reactions, and I get the encouragement from you all as well, because I think that a lot of business owners or leaders or senior level people, you don't have anyone that you report to, you
Right.
know. And you know, it's kind of like you're just not out there, and you also don't have that support system. You know, you're always telling everyone, "Good job, that's great, that's that," but no one tells you. And so I have found that when I open up more and I ask for input, or I ask for feedback, or I ask for your thoughts, or I take ownership if I miss a deadline, and you know, like, please don't get me. Like, I think that the more transparent I've become, the better my mental health has been as
Yeah.
we've tried to grow and aspire to do more. And we're seeing the results of that now.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I've seen that evolution as I've been with Herd Strategies,
Mhm.
where there has been a level of vulnerability that's grown over time.
Mhm.
And it's made our dynamic so much easier
Mhm.
because
Yeah.
you can't change or improve anything unless you're admitting that there's something to improve.
Right, right. No, thank you. That's a good point. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Oh, yeah, of course. Thank you.
Mhm.
So we've talked a little bit more broadly
Mhm.
about managing stress levels,
Yeah.
but and asking you to name a time feels funny because I'm sure you're like got an arsenal of all sorts of other times. But name the most significant time, at least, or more recent time where you have experienced burnout. What
Mhm.
were some of the signs leading up to that, and how would you have handled it differently today?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think we all experience burnout, and there have been times as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, where I've just been completely just exhausted, you know,
Mhm.
just physically, emotionally. And I think one of the times that really stands out for me was actually during COVID, because not only did we have COVID, we had a lot of civil unrest during that
Mhm.
time period as well. And that was really hard to cope with, trying to keep the business afloat, trying to keep our clients afloat, and trying to support the staff as well. And then with the unrest that we were all witnessing right in our living rooms, and you know, being African American and seeing people who look like me and how their lives were being impacted, and then thinking about how experiences that I had had, I was just so burnt. And it's funny because it's not like we were all out in the world interacting with one another. Everything we were experiencing was in the confines of our home. And I think that added to the burnout and the stress because there was nowhere to go to release any of that.
Yeah.
And so it was all kind of just pent up inside of you. And so I remember at one point I said to someone, like, don't do my staff and my clients understand that I'm just as freaked out as they are? You know,
Right.
because
Yeah.
you know, that was a really, really hard time. And I just remember just being so burnt out and tired and just wanting to close my laptop, close the blinds, close the door, turn the TV off, and just shut myself off from the world.
Mm.
And so, but of course, you can't do that.
Right.
And so you have to keep pressing forward. And so that was one time that I felt extreme burnout. I think another time I felt a little bit of burnout, um, was maybe, I think you were with us actually, during that time, and our staffing was not balanced.
Mm.
And I found myself trying to do my job and to do another job as well. And I was
Mhm.
very, very overwhelmed and very, very burnt out. And because I felt like I can't get ahead. I can't get
Right.
ahead. I can't get ahead. And so I think that now that I've seen myself work through those situations, I think that now I'm I would have handled things differently, because back then I would get very frustrated,
Mhm.
and the frustration, because I don't have a poker face, you could, my everything revealed that I was frustrated, my eyes, my face, my gait, everything, like you knew, like, uh-oh, and that makes people nervous. And so I've learned to better manage myself,
Mhm.
actually. And I wish that I had known how to do that better. I wish I
Mhm.
had learned earlier how to better manage myself when I did feel burnout, and feeling comfortable to take time off.
Yeah, that
Yeah, because you guys used to get on me all the time about
oh my
taking time
gosh,
off,
yes.
because I
This
never
woman never
did.
stopped.
I did. I would never take time off, never. And the team would just, and they'd be going on vacations. Then I'd be resentful. Now, how am I going to be resentful over something I tell you all to do and then I don't do it myself? That's bananas. So I think that now that I'm giving myself permission to be wrong. I'm giving myself permission to take time off. I'm giving myself permission just to like laugh and joke and
To be
be,
human.
yeah, that part. So I wish that I had felt more comfortable in my own skin doing that earlier, because
Mm.
I think that would have really helped with my mental health along the
Yeah.
journey.
I appreciate you telling two different stories with that. One
Mm.
from the burnout, emotional burnout. We were,
Right,
you
yeah.
were indoors, and that
Yeah.
still was a
Ooh,
lot to take on because you didn't have the ability to have those exhales.
oh,
Yeah.
it was rough.
Ooh, the dark days.
I feel triggered. So yeah.
So, as a business owner, as you've mentioned already a little bit, you have a lot of eyes on you. You have a lot of people who look up to you, including your employees here.
Oh.
So, and like I said, I know you've spoken a little bit about how you kind of developed your transparency level and learned, some discernment on how to navigate that. But could you go into that a little bit more on how you remain transparent with your team without allowing your mental health stressors to impact us directly?
That's a good one. When you said all eyes on you, might have Tupac.
Right. All
Like,
eyes on me.
yeah. And so I do play that from time to time, because there's a lot of, there's a lot of message in that,
Oh, yeah.
a lot of narrative in that. And so it's true. And the more you do, the more you accomplish, the more people are looking at you. And it's very weird. But it's funny, Kara, because I remember a long time ago me just saying out loud some things I wanted for Herd Strategies. Like, I wanted Herd Strategies to be like that go-to firm that
Mhm.
people turn to when they had issues involving matters of diversity. I wanted, diversity and communications, to be
Mhm.
specific about that. I wanted us to be that problem solver. I wanted us to be that agency that could fix things. Like, I wanted all of that. And now a lot of that is coming to fruition. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know all that other stuff came with
Heartbeats
it.
going
Yeah,
up.
like, wait a minute now. Now I remember what I put down on the paper, but
Right.
all this other stuff that wasn't on the paper. So why is it happening? And so I find that with my team, I never want to scare them. I
Mhm.
don't, because I know what it's like to be an employee. Like, I was an employee because of before I became a business owner.
Right.
And so I think that business owners, entrepreneurs, you need to remember what it was like when you were on the other side.
Mm.
Because of course I have a vested interest, because my name is attached to it, and it's my name on the sign. But these are people that have said, okay, I believe in your dream. And I
Mhm.
want to support this, and I want to go on this journey. So if you get up and you scare the crap out of them every time you get in a meeting, that's not good. They will have anxiety, and they
Right.
won't be able to do their best work. So a lot of times I find myself, as I've evolved, I found myself taking a beat,
Mhm.
just taking a beat before communicating. but also communicating in a way in which it can be received. Like
Mhm.
your goal is not to sweep the knees ever, even when things are difficult and you have to deliver difficult news or you have to deliver a reprimand. There is a way to deliver that in a way that it can be received and you can have a dialogue. I'm sitting here looking at Malik, he's our intern, and I remember I had to have a general conversation with him about his timesheets. He's over here rolling, laughing at us. But I had to say, like, hey, man, I need you to do your timesheets because if you don't do your timesheets, then I can't bill our clients properly.
Mhm.
But interestingly, when I saw he hadn't done his timesheets, I was like, why did he do his timesheets? But but I can't say that to him. I have to deliver it in a way. And ironically, when we had that conversation, he was like, I knew you were gonna get me.
He was prepped and
He
ready.
was yeah. So I just think that as you remain transparent and you have stressors in your role, your team knows that. And the thing I've also learned is that the team actually wants to be involved. Like
Mhm.
they want to be a part, they want to know what's going on, they want to share. And so if you are stressed, it probably is a good thing to tell them
Yeah.
because they can help you through that and help identify solutions. But that all goes back to trust.
Right.
And so when you have good people around you as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, then you feel like you can share certain things because
Mhm.
you're going to get the support, not the conversations that stop when you walk in the room and they've been talking about you conversations. So I think that it just changes the dynamic.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it also makes sense too with what you were saying before about giving yourself the grace to be human.
Yeah.
I think when you allow yourself to be openly vulnerable, it
Mhm.
allows other people to feel that grace too.
Mhm.
So as your
Mhm.
team, we
Mhm.
start to feel it as well.
Absolutely. I firmly believe that.
So continuing on that, what tactics do you use for your business to help your employees prioritize their mental health?
Well, I think you know this as well as I do. We have unlimited time off.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding, y'all. I'm here. I promise. I do my job.
No, you do. But we have unlimited time off. After we came out of COVID and after we came out of, the George Floyd situation and even what we experienced right here in Indianapolis,
Mhm.
it we are living in we are adjusting to our new normal.
Right. Yes.
People say like, what's our new normal? No, no, we're adjusting still.
Right.
And the way that we did things prior to 2020, 20 through 2022, it's very different now.
Mhm.
And so I feel like though I was raised in the workforce a certain way, I have to understand that things have changed and I have to keep up with that change. And so one of the first things that I announced when we came back was that it was just unlimited. Now you have to do the paperwork,
Right.
and you have to
And you
make
have to do
sure
your job.
right, and you can't be denied. But to know that you don't have to like come up with a lie about why you're taking that
Right.
day.
My grandma's flying
Right,
in.
right, exactly. Like you can just take it off, and no employee is going to write on their form mental health day, even though that's what it is.
Right.
But we've created this space where you can do that. Like I just need a day off. Like
Yeah.
I got to get some stuff done. I need a break. Blah blah blah. And you know that the team's going to support you with that. So I think that was one of the big things. That helped us with respect to prioritizing mental health. The other thing is how we work.
Mm.
We work pretty much virtually. We are kind of on a hybrid, but we've given everyone the flexibility to be where they want to be, and we come
Yeah.
together when we need to. And I think that helps also with your mental health. So if you wake up and you're like, you know what, I just want to sit here in my home office and work and do my thing, you can do that. Or if you want to go down to the office and work there, you can do that. It's totally up to you. We're utilizing technology in a way that we've never used it before.
Right. Yeah.
And I actually think that for us, this whole change and the intentionality that we've brought with respect to everyone's mental health has improved our productivity and it's
Mhm.
improved our communication tenfold. I
Yes.
I really feel that way. Like I feel like things are just so much better now,
Yeah.
you know.
It is crazy because we did spend a lot of time in the office for a while,
Mhm.
and it does feel so much easier now with
Mhm.
how everything is turned around quickly, how
Mhm.
connected we are in communication, and whenever we have to come together, we
It's like,
can
okay,
easily.
yeah. It's like, okay, what time?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. See there.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So oftentimes in a lot of other employment situations, employees tend to feel like just a number by their
Mhm.
employers.
Mhm.
What do you do to be able to create those connections with your employees to ensure that they are seen as individuals rather than just a number?
I try and get in your business.
Right. So to be fair, we put our business out there.
um, yeah, I never liked when my boss didn't know me,
Mhm.
or s- sit or feel like my boss thought this out. Like my boss really wants me to grow. My boss believes in me. Like I remember how that felt where I would want things and then it seemed like my boss and I weren't on the same page.
Yeah.
And that bothered me. And I in fact I remember specifically one time when I was working for an ad agency and I wanted a promotion. And I felt as though I was deserving of that promotion.
Mhm.
And when it came time to my evaluation, I didn't get it. And I was really, really disappointed. And my boss mapped out the reasons why he wasn't going to promote me. And the reasons were so shallow. They were
Mm.
so thinly veiled. And I thought to myself, in fact, one of the responses he gave me is that you're almost too ambitious at this point
What?
in time in your career. Look, everybody's looking at me like, what?
What?
Yes, like to be told that you're ambitious, like, aren't I supposed to be? And so I guess for me, I want to make sure that the team knows I care about their careers. Like,
Mhm.
I care about them as people. I care about their families. I care because when your team is happy, then the work is happy.
Right. Yeah.
But if the team doesn't feel valued or that their input doesn't matter, then they're not going to bring their best work and they're going
Mm.
to be sending resumes out all over the city trying to find a place where they do feel like they are valued. And that's a big shift because if you look at the workforce from a generational perspective, you have your boomers, you have
Mhm.
your Gen X, you have Gen Z, you have Y, you have all these different generations, and each one responds in the workplace very differently. So,
Mhm.
like for my generation, I don't need a lot of I never really needed a lot of affirmations from my boss, like telling me I'm doing a good job, except for that man that didn't give me my promotion. Now he should have rethought that. But we never went to work looking for confirmation that you're doing a good job or
Mhm.
these affirmations, these atta girls. That was never our goal. But for generations behind me, that's very important to them. It is very important for your generation to feel like I'm bringing value and to know you're bringing value and being
Mhm.
told that you're bringing value. And I think that entrepreneurs and myself specifically had to learn that.
Yeah.
How do I make sure I'm giving the people around me what they need? Because if I don't tell them, they won't know.
Right.
So I think that I try and share that like with you all. Like that was good, that was great, thank you. Or if like, hey, try this next time, or just something of that nature, so that everyone knows that what you're doing is very important. Plus, the work that we do at Hurt Strategies is very important.
Mhm.
And it is pushing a narrative and pushing a needle. And you all have the opportunity to affect change within organizations and within communities. And it's very important for me that you all have that experience because that's going to make you all better PR practitioners.
Mhm.
Because one day you won't be with me anymore. You will fly the nest one day, not anytime soon. You will fly the nest. And when you do, I want to make sure that I have given you everything that I possibly could for you to be the best that you could possibly be.
And we could not be more grateful for that because I will
Thank
say
you. Thank
I
you.
have never had an employer that has put so much care and intentionality behind my development as an
It's
employee.
important.
It really is.
It's really important.
Well,
Thank you.
we have just a few minutes left. So before we close out, do you have any final thoughts that you would like to share?
No, this actually wasn't as painful as I thought it would be.
Oh, wow.
I think that, yeah, it, I think what I'd really like to share is how important it is to, I tell people this, and I found it hard to take the advice myself, but to be you, you
Mhm.
know, to remember why you started this business in the first place, and to go back to that, and to even acknowledge where things fell short, or where you fell short, or when
Mhm.
you put your mental health last, and when you, and if you need to prioritize your mental health. I think I remember sharing with you, Kiera, that, I'm shifting some things this year, making a few changes. And I think the team has witnessed this. I've taken 2 trips this
Yes,
year
you
already,
have.
and I have a couple more planned before the year is up. And so I really am trying to do a better job of being more transparent with myself, being more transparent at home,
Mm.
and about my mental health. Because the other thing is that, because of the work that we do as communicators, and the work that we do even in crisis communications, that's heavy. That
Mhm.
is very heavy stuff that we're dealing with, and you can't help but start to internalize that,
Yeah.
and it can't help but take its toll on your mental health. And I think that I've done a better job of becoming more in tune with myself,
Mhm.
and understanding when I have to step away, when I have to close my computer and say, I cannot, when I have to push back on clients that are asking me to do things with a turnaround time that's just not realistic.
Right.
And I think that taking a little more ownership in my own mental health, and even being more protective of my mental health, has made a huge difference in how I feel about the business, how I feel about our clients, how I feel about our vendors, just and the environment that we're working in now.
Oh, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you for allowing me the opportunity to moderate this insightful and important episode, and for sharing your insights and being so vulnerable with our listeners.
Thank you.
Thank you so much to those of you who tuned into this episode of How They See Us. Don't forget to subscribe to our How They See Us podcast series, which is available on all streaming platforms. And you can also catch us on our official YouTube channel at Herd Strategies. Until next time.
Take care and talk soon.